I just want to make sure that the mic is on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives, with a point of view that's somewhere in the middle. I'm Dylan Hubble.
I'm Kory Hubble.
Kendall Ayla.
And this is From the Middle.
You're getting really good at that intro voice.
I'm a little offended. I've always been good at it.
You should have a podcast.
If there was only some way where we could record that sultry voice and get it out on the airwaves.
I'm
people
not
need
gonna
to hear
lie.
that.
My voice has never been described as sultry, but I enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Actually, I was texting Jeremy today, and something came up about interacting with other people, and he said it was a little off-putting, and I said, best way to describe me socially.
What was a little off-putting?
A little off-putting. Me.
You're a little off-putting?
That's how you described you, or an exchange that you had?
Between me and him.
Oh.
He said whatever I did or didn't do was a little off-putting, and I said, that's the best way to describe me socially. And you'll see why in this episode, I'm sure.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, boys.
I'd rather be behind ourselves.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Before we, I think we have a lot to cover in this episode, and as we've said multiple times, we are not a scripted show. We don't write out everything we're going to say. We do, however, have sort of an outline or a topic that we think we might cover in an episode, and so this one we think we're going to channel our inner Sebastian Maniscalco or any comedian who has any observational comedy about just pet peeves or observations about people, odd people things. So this is going to be a pet peeves episode. But before that, guys,
Hold on, before, because we begun the episode talking about Sebastian. My wife, literally now to this point, every single episode, the one that just came out.
It's a drinking game.
Yeah, she's like. I thought you guys were going to make it a whole episode, but then right at the end, there he is.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
Look, we got an email. Our Syrian audience loves the Sebastian Maniscalco references, so we're just going to include them every time.
There
Now
you
we're,
go.
Now we're doubling down on it.
And,
Yeah.
and Crystalia. That's the other.
And
the
Taco
other,
Bell,
the other
and
boyfriend.
Seinfeld.
Crystalia was on the mat, or not? What was to tell the truth?
Yeah.
I saw him on there.
What is the thing?
He wasn't
you
very
just said?
funny. It was disappointing. Actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Shocking.
What's
right?
to tell the truth?
It's a game show where there's four celebrities and they're competing against each other. And what they do is they bring out three random people. One of them has done something really cool, like canoed or paddled across the Atlantic Ocean. So they bring three people. One of them is sworn to tell the truth. The other two are just trying to convince the celebrities that it's
Which is
them.
an old show, right? That's been around
It's an old concept of an old show reconcepted, like so many of the celebrity game night kind of shows now are. But so it's just another one of those.
Oh.
But Crystalia was one of the contestants.
Okay. There you go.
So if you're not sure of the connection and you'd like the context, Sebastian Maniscalco is one of, if not the highest paid comedians in the U.S. right now. And sort of his shtick is that he just makes observational jokes about how the world and people annoy him.
I would describe him as an even more, significantly more animated Seinfeld.
Yeah, but where Seinfeld's is like, what are those plastic things on the tip of your shoelaces? His are like specifically about people and observational people things and how it annoys him, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to channel that in this episode. Before any of that, though, we have some fact checks, fellas.
All right.
Fact check.
Ba-dum-bum.
Fact check.
Ba-dum-bum.
From the middle, fact check. All right. So, hey, we got an email, guys.
Whoa!
Hey!
We got an email.
Is this the Blues Clues theme song?
right now.
We just got a letter.
Yeah.
We
I was
just
thinking
got
of
a
here's
letter.
the mail, it never fails. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that
the
one.
Yeah.
Well, it's both. It's both.
We have kids. So this is about episode 12 where I talked about how I think I might be nearing that phase where I just shave the old head and just be a bald guy. Like just shave it because it's getting a little thin. We got an email about it. So this is from John.
Who's a friend of mine, actually. We went to high school together. We've been friends for a long time and haven't talked to you in a while, John. Miss you, buddy. I'm glad you're listening. I didn't know you were listening.
It's kind of cool.
But he's a cool cat.
All right.
So anyway, go ahead, Kory.
So from Cool Cat John, here's what John says. Long-time middleman, first-time caller.
Hey.
Middleman. Okay. I was listening to your podcast on the appropriate time to deploy the BIC and thought I had to weigh in. I agree with K-Dog's sentiments. K-Dog.
Look at that.
I didn't even give myself that nickname.
Yeah.
John did. I agree with K-Dog's sentiments on being brave to new hairstyle.
That's me, by the way. K-Dog is me.
Oh, darn it.
So, whatever.
But just like me to claim it.
You can-
But here's what he says. He says, but I caution you on the bald look. Things to consider. This is really good if you were at the same line that I am and you're thinking, do I do it? Here's what he says. There is no wake up and go if your hair grows fast. You have to shave daily. Number 2, are you a greasy slime ball like me? Then you're going to be extremely shiny and people won't stop talking about it. Number 3, much like the swollen belly of a pregnant woman, people will feel both compelled and entitled to touch your head. This can be both alarming and discomforting.
and if you know John, you know how funny that would be to watch. Anyway.
Number 4, a shorn head is a magnet for all forms of damage. Tree branches, door jams, flying debris will damage your dome and be noticeable. And then number 5, prepare for damage. While shaving, you are going to nick your head. Have more than Pirates of the Caribbean Band-Aids in your medicine cabinet if you work in a professional environment. So this aligns with what I heard, that it's actually a lot of maintenance, arguably more than having a beautiful mane of hair.
Right.
So something to consider, and we will take that. I will take that under advisement. Thank you, John, for reaching out. Really
Thanks,
cool
bud.
to have you interact with us in that way. All right. Fact checks from 13. We talked about the X-Men thing, saying X-Men instead of Thanks Man, and seeing if people have you guys tried it? Have you guys?
I have not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, but we have some listeners who have
Yeah.
some middlemen or middies or middlers. And so people are trying it multiple times and nobody's gotten caught yet. So keep us updated on how that's going. I've had a lot of female service employees lately, and so I haven't, because you can't say man to a lady.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't been able to try it. But so that was kind of fun to see that people are out there actually trying to squeeze in a little X-Men. X-Men. All right. Fact checks from episode number 14. So we were talking about our attempt to summit Mount Elbert. We did the Northeast Ridge Trail. I said it's 9 miles. It's 9.5 miles. And
Liar.
Yeah, I know. The total gain, I think I said 2,500 to 4,000. The total gain is 4,700 feet
Wow.
in 4.25 miles. That's significant, right?
It's lots of it.
And you start at 10,000 feet, and just for posterity, Lily and I made it. I went back and looked at the trail maps. Lily and I made it to around 13,500 feet before we had to quit. So, Dylan, you asked, how do you get to Aspen from Twin Lakes in the winter? Because that road closes, right? That goes
Right.
across Independence Pass. You go around.
Okay.
That's the answer.
Oh, well, that's
Shocking, right?
yeah.
Feels like a bad "how did the chicken cross the road" type
That's
answer.
just not very creative.
But it takes 2 hours and 35 minutes instead of the 1 hour and 37 minutes that Independence Pass would.
Okay.
would
That's an hour. That's
Yeah.
worth it.
So we talked about Super Chefs,
Yep.
the breakfast and brunch spot, which we're going to go to on Friday.
Yeah.
The original Super Chefs location was Louisville, Kentucky, and was started by childhood friends Ryan Bryson and Darnell Ferguson. Ferguson was actually recently on the Today Show and he cooked breakfast for the cast of the Today Show. And they're opening a third location in Tuscumbia, Alabama, or Tuscumbia. I don't know where you put the emphasis on those syllables.
That'll be on the next fact check situation.
But Tuscumbia, Alabama. So that's where Super Chefs was started. That's all for fact checks, folks.
All right.
Great.
Any updates before we get into the topic for today? Anything interesting going on in y'all's lives? You know you do that almost every time we ask for updates. You do
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
Some people are afraid to say too many times, and I decide I'm going to sing it. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to put it out there.
Come out with it.
Because
I love it, man. You just own your ums.
I'm fierce.
Fierce. I like it. Anybody have anything?
No, nothing.
How about you?
I had a funny, one funny little thing. So my office / den faces the front yard. We're in the suburbs, which we never thought we'd be, but that's a whole other story. So we're in the suburbs, and a solicitor comes by on a mini Segway.
Yeah. Seen those.
Have you seen the mini ones?
Nopers.
Yes, I've seen solicitors on them before in our suburb.
Yeah. This is a first for me, okay? I'm not a suburb guy.
Well, I've seen one.
I grew up in the country in the woods, so this was new for me.
Yeah.
There's no like the regular Segways, Dylan, like the handle's way up high, like at chest height. On these minis, there's a little rod that goes up in between their knees, and they sort of like I don't know if they grip the bar with their knees, but it only goes up to their knees.
Yeah.
So it's like those things that the kids are riding around on the.
Right.
I know that sounded so old, man. What are those things called?
That was a good story, Grandpa. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I can't even think of what they're
What
called
are those
now.
dumb?
I'm looking at it now,
they're-
though. This is interesting.
The things that catch on fire.
They
all
call
the
them
time.
hoverboards.
Yes,
But they're not.
They're-
right.
Yeah.
So the kids have. So it's a hoverboard with a vertical bar, right? So anyway, this is where we need the video, right? But he just sort of like wheels around to our front door, and we have a no soliciting sign on the front door. It says like friends, neighbors, family, welcome, solicitors, have a nice day. Like no thanks, don't read. He sees it on his hoverboard, makes a sad face, and then like we like whips himself around and wheels away. And
Kory, in trying to impersonate what this guy just did, just unplugged his headphones.
and now I'm scrambling to try to find.
It's like the future is here.
So hold on. You guys talk about something.
This is why we've discussed the idea of video recording
That would have
our
been
podcast and putting it on YouTube
all of that. I mean,
for everyone's amusement.
Not yeah, exactly. Not just that Kory was trying to like mime what this guy.
Yeah.
But also the hilarity that ensued
Yeah,
after
and
he
I want to be
unplugged
clear. It wouldn't be to laugh at us. It would be to laugh, or it would be to laugh at us, not laugh with us. Just to be clear.
So he like whips around the corner, sees the sign, makes like a cartoon sad face, and then whips away, like hunched over a little bit on his mini Segway. Like
It's in my head and it's perfect.
Yeah,
Like-
it was so great.
Like hunched and sad, but
It makes-
but riding a Segway.
It makes me wish I had the Ring doorbell so that I could like show that clip to everybody because it was hilarious. And he doesn't know that I'm sitting there, I don't know, 4 feet from his face, watching the whole thing play out. It was really, I don't know. But I hurried up, grabbed my phone, and made a note like solicitor on a mini Segway, saved for the podcast. It's stupid. All right. So we thought it would be fun. We've actually been talking about this for a few episodes. This isn't something that just hit us last minute. It would be fun to do an episode on sort of our pet peeves, our personal pet peeves. So who wants to start?
Yeah. What grinds your gears?
Yeah, I was just looking up the Ring doorbells pricing. I've never.
Yeah, what are
never
they?
looked at them. It starts about $180.
Yeah, they're doable.
Yeah, that's not crazy. There's probably other things I would want to buy first, but if I'm getting smart home stuff, but
Sure.
yeah. So grinds my gears, right?
Yeah. What gets your goat?
I don't know. We might have started to allude to this in another episode. Maybe
I'm so excited right now.
You guys, we're just Kory and I are just sitting here staring at Dylan, like you've got How many pages do you have?
Here was the behind the scenes discussion when we brought up this idea. It's like Kendall and Kory are probably struggling to come up with anything to talk about.
Yeah.
And I've probably hammered out 42 bullet points. I actually made it into a checklist on my iPad so I could check them as I go. I want to make sure I don't miss anything.
Here are the inefficiencies of the humans.
Oh, it's far beyond that. Okay, so I want to start out by
I'm
saying
thinking of taking over.
I want to start out by saying, like, I'm fully aware that I might be the weird person on some of these because there's sort of things that are universally annoying, right? That like most people would agree with are annoying.
Okay.
It raining on your wedding day. Most people would find that annoying, right?
That just gave me. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Great. I'm giving Kendall ideas. This is going to be a great episode. And then there's other things that I understand are more niche. And so some of mine might be niche, and I'm fine with that. I understand. I'm fully aware that I might be the weird one here as we're talking through this. So I just want to preface that way.
Okay.
That as we're discussing.
I think the more niche and specific they are, the funnier they are.
Probably. And this
Yeah.
is going to be another you can laugh at me, not with me moment. And if there's a few middlers or middlemen or middies that agree with me, great. Tell us on our social media channels.
Okay.
But I just want to preface that way to be clear.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Hedged.
So one of the most annoying to me is
I'm so excited.
Ready?
getting groceries in the rain, like loading or unloading
How's
groceries.
that that's just something people don't like. How's that a pet peeve?
Right. But what feels especially annoying to me is something about how these grocery bags are designed.
Okay.
That if an ounce of rain touches that bag, it implodes on itself like a dying star. You can't even carry it anymore. It just like evaporates. It rips apart and stuff falls out
the
everywhere.
plastic bags,
Yeah,
or-
the plastic grocery bag. Have you not? Is this just me?
I don't recall experiencing.
They like just
this.
fall apart. I don't understand.
Are you going to a place that has prank grocery bags?
Apparently.
Quit shopping at the clown supply store.
The amount of effort and like anything
The
not
place where I buy my shoes and my noses, their bags suck.
any container that's not made of plastic is just soaked. I'm just instantly annoyed. I don't know. Maybe this is one thing that everyone just goes,
Okay.
yeah, it's a little annoying, and it's just
You've
me.
said this before. There has to be a specific story.
There's got to be something.
Almost every time I do it is the story. I don't understand why you're not more outraged about groceries in the rain. I'm wet, and here's what I think partially what it boils down to. I've already discussed how I'm not the most outdoorsy, right?
Yeah.
But there's a difference between being prepared for something, feeling prepared like it's not some unnatural weather event. It's not like standard weather that's like cloudy or sunny or whatever. Like if you're going to go outside and you know that you're going to be outside for a while and it's hot and you're in a t-shirt and athletic shorts, you feel significantly more prepared for sweating or being gross or whatever than let's say you're in a shirt and tie or a polo and dress pants and then it's hot and gross.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you there,
So everyone's tracking with me there. So that's the other piece of this grocery puzzle that on top of the bags just imploding and everything being soggy. I don't wear athletic apparel to the grocery store. So I feel I'm like wet and I'm hot and the stuff's falling apart and things are falling out of the bags because they're ripping. It drives me crazy. I don't know. And I deal with it and I literally just deal with it and I don't like any of it. And that's the first one that comes to mind.
That's never
Never
heard that one before.
I'm fully aware that I might be the weird one here. And it's not the rain while you're unloading whatever groceries. It's just the whole thing. It's too much and I'm tired. It's too much and I'm tired. I'm tired.
Oh boy.
That's how I'm going to start this. There's one for you.
I'm actually surprised it's not a people. Well, it's not a people thing. It's just a situation you don't like.
You didn't say. You just said things that annoy me. It doesn't have to be people.
Yeah, that's true. It's pet peeves and things that annoy you.
Yeah,
and
that's just for sure up there on the
That's
list.
funny.
So that's one.
Okay, so I'll go next.
I'll check that box.
As I started making my list, knowing that we wanted to try and talk about this, I wrote down 5 things very quickly.
Just the 5?
No. I got more.
Okay, good.
But at the first 5, I had an observation, and I'm alone in my office today, and I laugh out loud. The first 5 are really all about people just being in my way. So I'll read the first 5, and then I'll explain.
Okay.
This is like everybody's going to be like, yeah, for sure. Cars going slow in the left lane.
Sure.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Semis who move at the same pace side by side.
Yes.
Okay. People who stand and chat in any sort of main aisleway.
Oh, that's on my list.
Yes.
I'm thinking like church or any
Malls,
Store.
grocery
stores,
like,
malls.
Like,
You're
this
standing
is a
and
walkway.
chatting in the only main way to get through here. Okay.
Yes.
And then this one's specific because I travel a lot. Groups or families walking side by side in an airport terminal so that you can't get around them. Those airport terminal hallways are huge, but families will walk in groups shoulder to shoulder, and you can't even get around them, and people are trying to make connections. And then the last one is people who walk slowly in the middle of a parking lot lane.
Yeah.
Like, they're not walking across perpendicular to the lane.
Right.
Yes.
They're walking down to their car
And
in the
you're-
middle.
And you're in your car waiting for them
and you're
to
in
go.
the in the car.
Yeah, you can't
Yep.
move forward. It's that as soon as you can't move forward and you're stifled by somebody else,
Yes.
you're furious.
So I'm a person just by nature, and I'm not going to talk about the Enneagram, but I'm a person, I don't like being limited or boxed in any way. So the minute there's a car in front of me,
You've got about 15 more seconds to finish this up.
I can't do it. I'm going to take 17 just to spite you. I can't stand it. But here's why. It's actually less about stopping me or like, it's not that I'm even in a hurry necessarily. Here's what it is. Anytime people feel like they're the center of their universe and they have no consideration
Yeah.
for the fact that they are preventing somebody else from, they're just completely lost.
Yeah.
That's the thing that bothers me. It's not that you're actually blocking me or going slow. The audacity you have to just be so the center of your universe that you don't have any consideration. Inconsiderate. Right. So you could say it's really just inconsiderate people.
Inconsiderate or aloof. Yeah. Not just entirely unaware of the world around you.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what's happening most of those times.
I notice it most in those times. And because it's the first 5 I wrote down, I'm like, I get so, like, seriously? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to disturb you in your planet, mister. I'm the center of the universe. It just happened the other day. The guy was doing the walk in the middle of and I'm like, okay, does he really not realize what he's doing? He wasn't on his phone. He wasn't talking to another person. He was alone walking down the parking lot lane where cars drive.
I don't think that he was thinking there's a car behind me, but I don't care. I don't think that was going on.
Okay. Still as annoying.
No, still as annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
Still as annoying.
Yeah, because then you're just being a jerk.
Right.
Yeah.
If that were the case. Anyways.
I mean, I think that probably happens too.
Can I follow up on the walkway one? Because that was on my list.
Of
like
course.
people congregating in the walkway. My question to both of you, have you ever been in that talking circle group in a church hallway, mall, grocery store, whatever, and somebody has said, hey, someone's coming, we need to get out of the way. Have you ever been mad that person did that?
No, I've actually been that person who has said that.
You do the Midwest thing and you say, oh, excuse me.
Oh.
And you let them pass. So it only takes one brave soul in the group
Yeah.
to realize, have any level of awareness, spatial awareness, and go, oh, hey guys, we need to move over. There's people coming through. And it happens in malls all the time when there's like carts, or a grocery store, there's like carts and strollers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And you notice, because all of a sudden people are super friendly and everyone wants to be inclusive, when there's a group, the circle just gets bigger and bigger.
Right.
There's 15 feet diameter in between these people talking in the group, but
Yeah.
they're literally in the middle of the walkway. And you just need one person to go, hey guys, why don't we stand along the wall and talk over there
I just did it.
while we're trying to figure out where to go next.
Yep. When we were coming back from Colorado, we were at a truck stop, and my family, I mean, 3 of which are little kids, but there's 5 of us. We were standing at the intersection of the main doors in and the main doors between the Dairy Queen and then the regular like convenience store shop. So we were at a crossroads of the main part where people, and we were standing there talking, and it was bothering me. I was very aware that we were blocking that path and that these truckers would have to go, oh, sorry. They don't have to say sorry because we're the ones in the wrong. So I said to my family, granted, in a bad attitude, I go, guys, can we get out of we're blocking the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that too.
It's like being
And I
in the
don't
middle
like
of the
it.
intersection. You know, and you're just very aware of it if that's a thing that bothers you.
And it shouldn't bother me at church on Sunday when 2 dear friends are having a beautiful conversation in the middle of the aisle. But it does. Get out of the way. Stand in the corner.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Anyway, so I just got a big laugh when I realized that, like, oh, the first 5 are just people being in my way. That was funny. Anyway.
So when I was posed this question, was told to come up with a list, I was sitting there with my wife. I could not think of anything. And and so I looked to my wife and I'm like, I'm supposed to come up with this list of like pet peeves or things that I think are weird about people. And and I even told her, I'm like, I know I have some, but I can't think of. And she like immediately just starts listing them off for me.
Thank you, Amy.
So I'll say this, that not all of them, a lot of them are just things that I find kind of weird, not necessarily pet peeves. Even things that I will like make fun of people for. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm pissed off at you. What Kory was just talking about, I do share that, and I do share like when it's my own family doing that. Like I often tend to not have the grace to be kind and thoughtful. Instead, it like comes out as a disciplinarian, and I don't like that.
So
But,
wait, go back. So you're saying you're aware of like what I just described. So you're the one telling your family.
I'm the one telling my family, "Hey, we're on the way."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just saying it comes out a little harsh because you're hyper aware of it.
Because I'm hyper aware of it, and because it's a legitimate pet peeve of mine that I didn't think about, that upsets me, and then like I respond in an upset way,
Gotcha. Yeah.
if that makes sense. So actually, no, I'm going to start with a different one, and this is one that I think that people have talked about before. It's a really, really old example. I am / was an Alanis Morissette fan back in high school, but when you said the words "rain on your wedding day," you have that song, an entire song about things that are supposed to be ironic. Nothing in that song was ironic. It was all unfortunate. None of it was ironic. Ironic means you're expecting one thing, but something else happens. Right? Rain on your wedding day is not irony. It just isn't. Rain happens, and it could happen on your wedding day.
In fact, you probably
It's not
have
that-
even planned for what if it happens.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not like you're like, oh, that's my wedding day, and then for some reason you expect that God was going to be like, okay, so no rain on that day, and that was your expectation, but then it rained anyway. If that were true, that would be ironic that it rained on your wedding day. But that's not true. So 10,000 spoons and all you need is a knife is not ironic. It just means they didn't have knives.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing ironic about that, Alanis. Irony, and this is a comedian had put it this way. I forget what her name was.
So this has been commented on before.
This has been commented on before. I think even like James Corden did a remake of that song with her, making fun of this fact. So this isn't a secret.
Okay. I thought you were onto something big, and we could
No,
like.
no. This is not necessarily original thought, but someone had once pointed out irony would be finding a dictionary in Alanis Morissette's home. That would be that would be a good example of irony.
That's good.
But you love language, and you like
I do.
You pride yourself on having a good understanding of like grammar and words, and so that
Sure.
makes sense that is one that really bothers you because it's a whole song that we all sing.
Yeah.
And you're the guy going, this is not right. This is not right.
Yeah. And so to speak a moment about like the grammar Nazi stuff is like, so I, and the grammar Nazism is something where I would not say that it's a pet peeve of mine in the respect that it actually makes me angry. Like that, there are people who think that the future of our culture lives or dies on how well people speak, or how grammatically proper we all are, and so like, you know, the uproar that happens among grammar folks when the word "ain't" is put in the dictionary and that sort of thing. But so I'm not one of those. Like I'm okay with the evolution of the language. It's just something that I like to make fun of people for.
That's fun.
So that's
It's kind of unique.
and kind of unique. Yeah. So that's an example. That's an example that I've used before, and so I call it a pet peeve because it does. When I hear something that's sort of like on my list of things that I hear people often use incorrectly, I do think to myself that's wrong, and I do correct it for them in my head at the very least. And then if it's a friend, I will often make fun of them for it. It doesn't actually make me mad, but it does for a few seconds there. Like it becomes noise in my head for a little bit.
You cringe a little.
Yeah, just a little. So like when someone, for example, qualifies an extremist word, such as the word unique, it is grammatically incorrect to qualify that word. It has a very specific definition. It means literally one of a kind. There's nothing else like it. So you can't be sort of unique. You can't be very unique.
Right.
You're unique or you're not.
Right.
And so when I hear somebody say that's very unique, for like the next 5 seconds of them speaking, I didn't hear any of what they said.
Is there a nice way? I mean, for sure it depends on the relationship, but is there a nice way to correct someone with their grammar or speech
Nah, I think
or type?
I don't think there is, because I don't think it can be perceived in a nice way. I think it's, no matter how nice you put it, people are going to think you're being a jerk.
You're just being a know-it-all as opposed to trying to help them.
Right.
But I'll often think about friends or loved ones, like if your goal is to come across professional, then
Well, there you go. Yeah.
like I actually feel like it's a kindness to say, hey, just, you know, by the way, that's like and I do it. I would want you to tell me, because as somebody who's in corporate America and like does consulting and talks to people, and like if I'm using that word incorrectly, let me know. If I've got bad breath, give me a Tic Tac, please. Like, tell me, right? So I don't know. I would hope. I know it depends on the relationship, but for sure, nobody likes to know it all. There's a whole Friends episode about about that. Right?
Well, there are like little examples. I think like one of our first episodes, this was a little bit behind the scenes thing. We were talking about how we were going to put our descriptions together.
Yeah.
And I had put an example out there to you guys, and I'd say first sentence, I would say like, we discussed blah 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 period or whatever. And then Kory's comment to me was, don't you think it'd be better to have complete sentences? Like, in this episode, we discussed blah, 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 blah. I'm like, we discussed blah, 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 blah is a complete sentence.
Right. Right.
So like, that's a little one that like went off in my head. Not, like, I wasn't mad about it, but I was
Sure.
like, I was
That's all
like,
right, man.
He's wrong. Moved on.
Does it bother you? This is a pet peeve, but it's a great segue. Does it bother you when words are overused, and especially overused in a way that becomes inaccurate?
Yeah.
So like
Misnomers.
the marketing buzzword fresh. Everything is fresh.
Sure.
I'm serving you a fresh fast food burger where everything was refrigerated on a truck and sent here days after it was.
I think I might have a relatively complicated answer to that one too, because for the most part, it doesn't really bother me. Like I notice and respect linguistic changes that happen. So a recent one that we talked about the word hilarious, that people use that word incorrectly, and so but for me, like, it doesn't really bother me, because if people want to describe as something as being like one of the funniest things they've ever heard, they still have a way to say that.
Right.
And that's relative
without
to
using
the person.
word, right, without using the word hilarious. And so, like, linguistics changes, and I'm cool with that. So there's a lot of those words that get used in the wrong way that are fine, that are perfectly fine with me. Some of it might be annoying. So, like, if I'm hearing the word fresh too often, and I just don't like, I just think it's trendy, and
Right.
I'm not a fan of it. Like, I can find it annoying, but I don't necessarily think of it as a grammatical problem. But when it comes to, like, larger words that people might not know the definitions to, but assume they do, like that can be a pet peeve of mine, which is weird. And I'll give you an example, because it, to me, like, that shows a certain level of ignorance, and even ignorance is a word itself.
Yes.
That
That's
a lot
great
of people use the word ignorant, and they automatically think negative connotation with the word
Did you
ignorant.
just call me stupid?
Exactly.
Right.
Ignorant just means you don't know something. That's all it means.
Yeah.
It means you don't understand a certain topic. You're ignorant of that topic. That is perfectly fine. So for me to say that, like, people are ignorant about certain big words, there isn't a negative connotation there with the word ignorant. There is a negative connotation there when you combine the word ignorant, but I think I know. And so, like, to pull out an example, the word expedient is a word that I use on occasion, and I think that most people, because of the way the words, like, they hear the word speed in there, and so they think the word expedient means quickly. They think it means it needs to be done fast or efficiently. That's not what the word means. So the word means it's useful to a common cause.
Right.
So it could be expedient to be quick.
It could be other things too.
It could also be expedient to
Yeah.
be slow.
One figure of speech that people misuse is learning curve.
Okay.
So a steep learning curve actually means you learn it very quickly. Because if the bars, if the
That
X and
makes
Y
sense.
axis are speed and
There you go.
learning, a steep learning curve means it's really easy to pick up. Almost anybody could do it.
Yeah.
A shallow learning curve means it's going to take you a long time. We think of a mountain and go, oh, steep, hard, difficult. So people misuse
Right. Yeah.
or mean the opposite of what they often say.
I'm going to
with-
start saying a
with
steep learning mountain from now on.
steep learning mountain.
There you go.
This is interesting because I think part of the marketing words, I'm just tired of being marketed to.
Yeah.
And so part of that is, like, quit calling things fresh that aren't fresh.
Yeah.
Quit using the word revolutionary for everything.
Yeah.
That has an actual important historical context to it. And if something is actually revolutionary in the tech space or in whatever, I don't have a problem with them using that, because the word kind of makes sense. I don't have a problem generally with slang, even though it's incorrect. People are saying bougie. And what they're trying to say is it's really rich, fancy, whatever. It stems from the word bourgeois that meant middle class.
Okay.
So if they say, oh, champagne and limos, that's really bougie, you're saying that's really middle class.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense, but it's slang, so I don't really care. But people need to
But-
know they're using it wrong.
But you kind of hit on another thing, like in marketing, we like our really, really big words, the maximum words. And I know a pastor once, for example, who had a pet peeve with people overusing the word awesome.
Yeah.
We say awesome about everything. That fry I just had was awesome. Awesome. I mean, if you think about it in a spiritual context, like, awesome should be reserved for only the most, like, epic, incredible, godlike things.
Yeah.
But we just say it for everything.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
That's interesting.
We
we use
not what it is,
Right.
basically.
Right.
Full of awe.
Yeah. That Taco Bell was awesome
Yeah. So
because
that's,
I really enjoyed it,
yeah.
but not because it was awesome food.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, awesome doesn't have to necessarily refer to. I think there's plenty of other reasons why people have or how people devalue God in lieu of other things. I don't know if awesome is the use of the word awesome is a sign of that or a driving force of that.
Yeah, sure.
But that is a good point. That is a good point. So if you are literally
Literally is
if
another
you-
one.
if you literally think that your Taco Bell experience was as awesome as God, then you have a problem thinking.
Literally is another one, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rob Lowe.
I literally died. Wow.
Okay.
It's incredible that you're here.
Okay, let's move off of linguistics because we could do a whole episode
We
on that.
could, and it's not funny anymore.
I'm not saying that,
So
but okay, Dylan, you're up.
we need to laugh again. Go ahead, Dylan.
All right. So,
He has 41 to get.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
so many more.
This is
I really. The bumbling idiot husband trope
oh my goodness, yes.
really just drives me crazy. And that gets tied to being tired of being marketed at because it's a lot of times in the same media.
Yeah.
It's a commercial with the bumbling idiot husband, and I'm being sold to because only the wife has any clue what's going on, and the husband's just a total moron. Now, to be fair, some husbands are total morons.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of them are. However, it's as we talk about, and this is a much bigger discussion of like how media influences people and children and things like that. But that's such a common trope that's used so frequently across every form of media that I can think of, whether it's literally a skit, a movie, TV, commercial, a printed ad.
Yeah.
It's so common that it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I just roll my eyes every time that I see it. And so and there's whole shows built around that premise. I mean, that's essentially like Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens and some of these shows that literally the whole shtick is just the husband's an idiot.
Right.
I don't know. That one really grinds my gears.
I think along with that is, we were talking about this earlier, misrepresenting your spouse, or not even that, like just talking trash about your spouse in front of other people, complaining about your husband, complaining about your wife when you're among your friends. To me, just rubs me the wrong way, and related to that too is this whole. So it's back to school time now. My kids actually, the day we're recording this, the first time that all three of them went off to school. And I've always been, whenever I've seen people post with the, like Dylan said earlier, with the praise hands, kids are back to school, I have my life back or whatever, like those, time to break out the wine and the books.
Oh,
Like those kinds of things that I see on social media and everything, they just make me sad. Like that's painting the wrong picture. I hope that your kids never see that. Like I don't like it. Not a fan.
yeah.
To me, it's right up there with talking trash about your spouse with your friends. It's just something you shouldn't do. It's not a good idea.
I think it just feels like the low-hanging fruit joke that it's easy to make because parents can relate. So you're
Yeah.
tapping into...
It's like I get it.
Yeah,
like you can
pa-
take a nap. now if
Parents
you
are
want
tired,
to.
right?
Yeah.
So like I get that's
Right.
what you're saying, but it's the other part of that, which is you're also still talking about your children.
Yeah. It's
know.
like, isn't it? Wouldn't it be better if you liked hanging out with your kids?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be better? Can we talk about that for a minute? So that's I don't know. That's where I am.
Yeah.
Oh man, I made it angry again. Maybe I do have a problem with pet peeves.
I have never seen fire in your eyes. Like this is why we need a camera.
Okay. Okay. Here's another travel one, and
Yeah.
this feels a little Sebastian-esque. Sorry, Amy. Take a drink. We said Sebastian with your wine because the kids are at school. Sorry.
Brace hands.
Sorry, not sorry.
PTL.
When you're at your gate for your flight, and every flight boards 30 minutes before departure. Okay? 30 minutes before departure, you can start getting in line.
Yeah.
The people who are in line standing in the little cattle lanes like 15 minutes before that.
Yeah.
And it's just always a problem. There's just always a problem. I can look around the gate and tell you who's traveled and who's not well traveled.
Okay.
And I'm only just starting to travel more often. It's not like I've traveled my whole life, but people they're like already antsy. They're already asking the gate agent questions. They haven't even logged into the computer yet. And they're like, I was just wondering, is there any way I could board early? My husband and it's just a problem. You're escalating the tone of the whole situation is now escalated because you just can't sit and they'll call your number. You have a boarding group. Your boarding group 7 and you're bugging the person before they've even logged into the workstation. It's just like, just sit down, relax. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit I want to talk to your manager lady. Like, it's just, why is there already a problem? Why can't you just not?
Here's why I need to board early.
Here's the thing. There's rarely often a legitimate need. You're just like, you're worked up and you're in it. Will you guys be having lemonade on this flight? Because I can't have carbonation because of just sit down.
And ultimately, what you need to address in yourself is your pre-flight anxiety. If you're legitimately dealing with an anxiety about travel, that's understandable.
Maybe say that.
Maybe
to the
hey,
yeah.
I'm dealing with some anxiety about the flight.
And even then, if it really is your first or second time ever on a plane, I've got grace for that. Cool.
Yeah.
But it's like you can tell the people that are still really well traveled and they either expect some higher level of service or they're angry about some small thing that happened. I heard a wise quote once, which was like, you can tell a lot about a man by what it takes to make them angry.
Yeah.
Like, so you're already over the edge and we haven't even started yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just, I sit and I just watch and I'm like, now I'm starting to feel it because you're up there fighting with them about, I don't know.
And I think the important thing there is, like, for the people who do deal with some of the travel anxiety, it's not so much for me that you're kind of bugging them a little bit, but there's a lot to the delivery of what you're saying. It's not always that you're talking to them, but there's a little bit of that humility that you can say, hey, I'm really sorry to bug you.
Yes.
I was just wondering. Nobody's going to look at that person and get mad, right? It's the person that's escalating things unnecessarily, and they're frustrated because they don't know how to deal with whatever is going on.
And you can see it. You can see it bubbling up in them. They can't stand still. They're getting a little antsy. They're like checking their watch. And I almost want to tap them on the shoulder and go, what's the problem already? What is it?
I'm going to need you to calm down before we get on this
What
plane.
are you already worked up about?
Otherwise, I'm calling airport security if you can't
We
chill
have
out.
group numbers. You're going to board with group 7. Just board with group 7.
Yeah.
My bag has the extra latch, and sometimes...
What's the big deal with I'm sorry. What's the, what is the benefit of boarding early anyway? Unless you're on Southwest. But
sometimes the overhead bins are full, and so now you have to put your bag either way behind where you're sitting or way in front of your sitting. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like the last person to sit down in their seat is still going to be waiting for 20 minutes in that seat, right?
I agree. I don't get it.
Right. I mean, as soon as when you stand up to get to leave the plane, which is something that I've heard a lot of people say about their pet peeves. When you have people as soon as the
as soon as the seatbelt sign goes off,
as soon as the
everyone
plane
stands
touches
up.
the ground, people want to unbuckle their seatbelts and stand up right now. And it's like,
you're not going anywhere for 23 minutes.
That's
Yeah,
a whole
exactly.
type of person that's just standing. Literally, they pop up. They're literally.
Now, if I have a tight connection, I will do that to sort of passive aggressively signal, not even aggressively, passively signal to those around me, oh, this guy's clearly, he might not make his next flight.
Yeah, yeah.
So he needs to get off first. And sometimes they'll even say, if you have a connection, or if you don't have a connection, please just stay seated. None of those people are actually staying seated.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I do, because I'm that guy. in cafeteria situations in school, I was always the guy. I was like, I'm just going to sit down for a while, wait for the line to go away.
Yeah.
So on an airplane, I'm the same way. I'm just going to sit here, wait for the line to go away. But I mean, it doesn't matter if your bag is up here or back there.
Yeah.
Like,
but again,
it's going to take you about 20 minutes to get off that plane.
You could argue with that, even that last example I gave, that it's still really just people acting like they're the center of their universe. Like their thing is the most important thing. No courtesy for the fact of the gate agent, like who's trying to benefit this whole flight by logging in and getting the process started. Now you're already bugging them with your stuff.
Right.
Center of the universe person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to get to my connecting flight.
Okay, we have so many. We have so many more. Sorry.
Can I share a thought about
Yes.
turn signals?
Of course. Please do.
Use them. All right, here's the actual thought.
Is that the end? Oh,
I want people to think just for a second what turn signals are for, and that's going to feel real obvious. But I just want to share one thought.
Oh,
turn signals aren't so you know where you're going.
right.
It's so everyone else on the road knows where you are going.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Not just when you're turning, but also when you're changing lanes. I want you to think about that. Think of driving not as a race, but as a team sport. And you want your teammates around you to know where you're going so they can plan their next move. And you could make the argument, if it's late at night and there's no one around, that you don't need to do it. Yeah, but just practice. This is like grammar and texting. Well, I don't need good grammar while I'm texting because it's just a text. Well, it's not going to hurt you to practice. You're 23 years out of high school and college. Maybe just throw a little extra practice in there.
Some people need to put in the time.
I wish this
So
is where I
that-
wish we had video, because if you could see Dylan's facial expression when he says practice.
So if you're listening to this
Oh, for the love.
and you don't use turn signals, I want you to pause the episode. Take 2 minutes, 3 minutes if you need it, and really just care about the other humans around you for a hot minute.
Don't be
Center
the-
of the universe.
Don't be the Allen Iverson of driving.
Right. Because I think
Four people
people
will
forget,
get that.
myself included, and there's very much a part of this that I'm guilty of doing other distracted driving things, okay?
Yeah.
But we are operating very heavy machines that could end lives. So
Yeah.
maybe just flick your wrist. You put more effort into flipping on YouTube to watch while you're sitting in traffic. Maybe just flick your wrist, throw on a signal when you change lanes or you turn. That's
Yeah.
all I'm asking.
That's a good one. That bothers me.
Way up there on my list. Just want you to know.
Kendall, you got one?
We can tell. I've got one that I want to talk about just because I think it's fun to talk about, that my wife told me is one of hers. Well, I know it's one of hers. I knew way before we were married it was one of hers. That is all things mouth noises she hates. So like you guys, everybody I think knows what like banana noises are, right? If you hate banana noises, don't listen to the next 5 seconds. It's these noises.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels gross.
Yeah, it's super gross.
The sound that it makes when you eat a banana.
Yeah.
She hates those kinds of noises. I therefore will sometimes just break them out in the middle of conversation I can do it so quietly, and it will like she'll perk up and be like, "What did you just do?" It's a fun little game we play. I love her.
Does she know that you're playing a game?
She is fully aware that I'm playing a game.
Okay. Is
Or
this
like even any kind of mouth, so like even like clicking your tongue, like.
Oh, is
Like-
it the kind of wet sound?
I don't know exactly what it is. It's a mouth noise that's not talking. She doesn't like it.
I mean, I get
and
it,
so
I guess.
yeah, I mean there was one moment where like I was with her parents and in the car, and all of us know this about her. Another thing we all know about her is she's also one who has a pet peeve of people who listen to Christmas music outside of December. And I'm also one of those people who will listen to Christmas music whenever I want to,
Yeah.
which could be June.
This is
And-
a really quick way to get the masses to turn on you with this one. You got to be careful.
I'm a Christmas is in my heart all year kind of person.
Yeah, Buddy the Elf.
But like So like we were in the car one time and we just like her parents and I just started like mouth clicking jingle bells in the middle of the summer.
Two birds with one stone.
It was a fun little Amy. I love you and you're a good sport.
I bet she drinks her Starbucks out of a brown cup too, doesn't she?
Hey, and you know what? I hate it, but she loves to pop pimples, and yeah, she gets on my case with those things too. I don't know. Maybe this is. I might have to cut that out. I'll have to ask her if she's okay with me sharing this. But that's a thing. A lot of people like to pop pimples, and it's not uncommon.
There's a whole show.
Well, exactly. Yeah, she loves, and it's also not uncommon for a spouse to pop for a spouse to pop their spouse's pimples.
What kind of mouth noise would that make?
Oh, gross.
So maybe that's what I'll do. Like next time she's like reaching for my face or my back, I'll just start making mouth noises.
So misophonia is a strong reaction to sounds such as like dripping water, mouth noises, snapping gum, repetitive noises. There are times where if Sherry hears me chewing or chomping ice, she wants to murder me.
Yeah, I can't chew gum around Amy.
Like even what you just did, that when you were inhaling just now, like that would drive her crazy. Like what are you doing? So I think she has that misophonia thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anyway,
sounds about right.
We talked about my distaste for puns and people who make the obvious joke, like the most obvious joke, like the guy that's going to say the most obvious joke.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed. But so I'll skip that one. And this one I don't want to do another serious one, but this is kind of like your like kids are away, praise hands, wine and like friends. It's people who complain about how busy they are. Mm-hmm. And this is a really big topic, but like there's this people think that their worth, they think that their worth goes up if I'm a busy person. Okay. My value, I'm so needed. And I'm so important that I'm so busy. Let me see if I can schedule you in. Mm-hmm. The whole so busy. All I do is run my kids. Da 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 da. You choose that.
Sure.
You make your schedule. Oh, we never eat as a family. We're just constantly running. I don't even know, girlfriend. I don't even know if I could meet you for coffee because I am slammed all of next week. Like
right.
That. There's this weird value system now around how I'm perceived and how it just drives me insane. Now, we have a calendar. I'm sure we've told people, let us check the calendar to see if we have anything going on.
Right.
We're not doing it from a, look how fancy we are that we're so, it's like a legitimate.
Well, yeah, you can tell by the way someone says it. Like if they say that, oh man, I just probably can't. I just got so much. You don't even know what my schedule is. Like that's different. From like that's saying essentially the same thing as let me check my calendar.
Yeah, and for that reason, it's such a pet peeve of ours as a couple that we've said our kids are allowed one sport or extracurricular per season, and we're going to put a premium on dinner at the dinner table regularly. It doesn't happen every night, but we're just not going to be those people because you choose it. I'm sorry, you might not want to hear it, but you're the only one making your calendar.
Yeah.
No one cares. You're not impressing anyone by telling us you're busy. Stop it.
Yeah, and I think there's because I would say that you guys are pretty busy most of the time. But that's not a complaint that I hear you make. It's just a, hey, are you free? Oh, and I can vouch for that. It's like we might have things going on. Let me double check.
Sure.
I'll get back to you. But yeah, it's that balance of, and I think we probably take that to the other end where we purposefully schedule very little.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So that generally, and it helps that our daughter's not old enough to have activities, but generally people say, are you free to do, unless it's like a birthday party that weekend or like a holiday or something like that. We really schedule very little. We have a couple Saturdays in a row where it's like we're going to go help with a 5K race. We're going to go visit my mom. She has a business out of town. we're going to do a couple things a couple Saturdays in a row, but it's still not like that's it. Like most weekdays, weekends, we're generally free. So yeah, it's probably to a fault, but yeah, you guys you're never whining about it while you're busy. You're never whining or complaining about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope so. All right. Any more?
I think this is gonna.
Any more big ones?
Yeah, we can always talk more about this some other time too.
Yeah, this is. We proved one of my pet peeves is people who complain too much. So, that said, we'll have to complain another day.
We could almost do a whole other episode because I'm sure Dylan's got like a lot more.
Air the grievances
as much as you want, baby.
That was a joke about complaining too much.
I got it.
Yeah, I got
Actually,
it.
only kind of a joke. This is.
People who sing or murmur along when they don't know the lyrics,
I do that.
but they still try to sing. Like, hey, pause for a minute. If you're not sure of those lyrics, learn them for the next time.
Let's find out together.
Let's find out together.
Yeah.
Don't try to go 6 o'clock TV hour. No. Hey, buddy. Hey, let's rewind that for a hot sec. Pause. Let's learn together. Remember when they had the lyrics to the songs in the CD?
Yeah.
In the jewel case, and you could actually, don't sing right there.
Yeah.
It's okay to just enjoy, and that's kind of that joke. Like, hey, who recorded or who does this song? Oh, it's so and so. Oh, maybe let them do it. That's kind of that. It's kind of that moment.
If we're going to continue with this, should I save my one thing to the next time, or do we want to cover that now as like put a button on this one? What do you think?
Maybe we save it.
Yeah, let's save it.
Let's save it.
Okay, so we're gonna do.
We want people to be in an angry mood.
Yeah, we're gonna do a part 2 of this one, and maybe not even a part 2. We'll just continue the conversation.
Yeah.
With some of our pet peeves, and then maybe talk about something else.
We'll just see where it goes organically.
Hey, I just added a new one. Oh man.
That could be a whole episode on just like corporate lingo and like all the jargon that people use, like what I just said.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do it organically.
Yeah. Can you explain to me what that even means?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like vague things that people say that sound like they're good points until you try to think about it and you're like, that said nothing.
You got a pen and paper, man. Write it down.
Like
let's dive in.
Yeah.
Again.
I need to leave my job because I don't feel like I'm making an impact. Explain to me what making an impact at your work looks like. I don't know. It's things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so stick around. We're going to put a nice little bow on this. I'm going to ask a slightly provocative question when we wrap up the pet peeves conversation. So you want to be sure to stick around for that. Do you guys want to say anything before we wrap this one up?
Nope.
All right, this has been a fun episode. Thank you for joining us in another episode of From the Middle. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation. We're having fun talking about all the reasons why we hate you people. Just kidding.
See, it's all about delivery. I'm not even mad you just said you hate me.
See?
That was so good.
See?
I was
you gotta
thrilled.
do is a funny voice.
Part of the
People are
audience.
Like, yeah,
I almost got back into baseball announcer voice.
I'm screwed up.
But anyway, check us out on social media at From the Mid Pod on all the social media channels. We're really making a concerted effort to increase our Twitter interaction. So we want to make sure that we're putting an equal amount of effort. Did I use the word concerted properly?
I think
Let me translate that. They gave me the login credentials for Twitter, and since I'm an idiot, I'm allowed free roam within 140 characters. So you people just come validate me on Twitter and all the stupid comments and polls that I want to share.
Share all of your pet peeves, and then
Yes,
that way when
please.
Kory says his little wrap-up thing that he wants to say, then you'll feel like a jerk like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Hashtag pet peeves from the middle.
Yeah, so there's a teaser for why you should listen to the next episode, an incentive to listen to the next one. We're like I said, we're gonna wrap all this up. Anyway, From the Mid Pod on all the social media channels. Email us like John did at fromthemiddle@protonmail.com. And then we always post a link where you can record an audio message for us that we could possibly use in an episode.
Yeah, so that link more specifically is going to be in, like, if you're an iTunes user, an Apple person, just look at the description of this podcast, and you will see a link.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep. So thanks for listening, guys. We're going to continue the dialogue, and we hope you have a wonderful day. You're not the center of the universe.
Peace.